Hi, my name is Jeff Ryan, and I'm the Regional Science Coordinator here at Olympic ESD. I'd like to provide you with a quick overview to the set of resources found on this website here. The title of this session here is Analyzing a Bundled Set of Performance Expectations. It's one of two parts. Part 1, Disciplinary Core Ideas. All the resources you'll need for this can be found on this web page. So here are the session outcomes. Like to increase your understanding of a bundled set of performance expectations, increase understanding of connections across the elements of a disciplinary core idea in a bundled set of PEs, increase understanding of the science and engineering practices and cross-cutting concepts associated with that bundle, and then identify a set of lesson level performance expectations from your identified PE bundle. The sort of the process that I developed for this session here originated from this particular journal article here, Planning Instruction to Meet the Intent of the Next Generation Science Standards. You can see the author, Joseph Kraychek, and a few others. I just wanted to acknowledge that although the steps in this process are different than the ones that are in this paper, the paper has like a 12-step process. I in some cases combined some steps and then added in a few other things so that it would work in the context of our professional development event. Here are the materials you need. Obviously a computer with internet access, some hard copies, printed out copies of the Dimensions Analysis Guide, DCI part, and then the Dimensions Analysis Sample. I created a sample. And then an electronic copy of the Dimensions Analysis Worksheet. The worksheet is where you can cut and paste your work as you're going through the electronic resources. And then, of course, a pack of orange Post-it notes. Here's the process overview. So step 1, we're really going to identify a bundle of performance expectations and then describe the connections across those. Step 2 and 3 is about accessing the resources to increase your understanding of that bundled DCI, that DCI bundle. And those are the resources you're going to be using. And then in step 4, you're going to revise a description of your original connections across the PE bundle, and then that's when you're going to unpack the DCI elements into lesson level targets. So the first thing that you're going to need to do is you're going to need to use an online version of the Next Generation Science Standards to identify a bundle of performance expectations. And this is an excerpt here from the guide, so it's, rather than read you all the steps, I'm just going to reference that this is the first place you start. This particular highlighted area are the 3 that I identified as a bundle. I would say a minimum of 3, and you obviously, as you start to look at these more closely, you can see that the DCI's bundle, you can make bundles of more than 3, but this is just 3. And again, the bundle here is at the DCR, the disciplinary core idea level, not across the practices or the cross-cutting concepts. But that's also a way to bundle them. And this is the DCI arrangement here. So in steps 2 and 3, you're basically accessing the resources to increase your understanding of that DCI bundle. The first one that you're going to access is the framework for K-12 science education. And the way you access that is basically through the Next Generation Science Standards web interface here. And it's hyperlinked in the guide for you. But what you can do is, this is kind of an example, when you are on the web page that is where you're viewing the standard online, you can click on the orange foundation boxes and it's hyperlinked to the frameworks text for that particular section that you are looking at. So here's what it looks like. So let's say you're looking at inheritance of traits, this foundation box, this orange disciplinary core idea, and you click on this, you move your cursor over. This isn't hyperlinked like the other is, but if you click on your cursor, what you're going to find is that this page from the frameworks is going to pop up. It'll take you to a new website, and then what's kind of convenient is you have this text here that you can read, and you can increase your understanding of this disciplinary core idea by just a couple clicks. So here's the corresponding text in the frameworks, inheritance of traits, like we were at before. And then here are the grade band endpoints. So you can read the section, and that's really what you're doing in this first part. You're reading this section. In addition to that, in steps 2 and 3 of this process, you're going to be increasing your understanding of the DCI bundle by looking at the Appendix E from the next generation of science standards. Appendix E is essentially the progressions across the grade levels, and this provides a nice large grain size view of the disciplinary core idea. In addition to that, you can see, in addition to Appendix E, there's also the NGSS at NSTA. NGSS at NSTA web portal, and if you click on that link, as this little note says, you can get a version of the standards that looks like this. And at this portal here, the nice thing about this is when you click on the orange DCI box, it'll show you immediately learning progression, or a progression view of this DCI and how it's connected. So this is another place here when you're increasing your understanding. Go to the NSTA website, which is linked on the guide. Okay, so step 4. This is where it gets a little more complex. So after you've cut and pasted many of your these different references from these web resources, and it's all described in the, like here, copy and paste the specified content from the DCI progression into your dimensions analysis worksheet. So you can do that at your own discretion. The purpose here is really increasing your understanding of that content. So, and visiting the NSTA website. So in the 4th step, what you're doing is you're really going back then to your original description of the connections across your DCI bundle, and you're revising it. You're editing it. You're adding additional content to it. So you can see that there's several parts to this this step 8 here. The first of which is, what is the overarching content goal for your identified DCI? That might be restating what you said before, but hopefully you can add in more content based on your using the resources. What are some connections between the content of this PE bundle and the lives of your students? So in here, what this is asking you for is to think about this content, this disciplinary core idea, and your students' lives. So this is a place where you can start to think about how to make it more relevant, how to make the content more relevant. And I have some examples of this on the student sample, or sorry, on the sample that I created. And then letter C, what are some possible observable and unobservable phenomena related to this content? How could you use these phenomena to be used to anchor a unit of exploration and focus on this DCIs? So this is a hyperlinked article about anchor units and the use in science instruction. So if you have the time, click on this to read more about anchor units. But it should be possible for you to think about the phenomena associated with your DCI. And then the last part, letter D, here is where you unpack your bundle of DCIs by listing specific pieces of observational experimental knowledge and evidence. So in this part here, you're digging deeper into the content targets for your DCI bundle in these two, and you're considering the relevancy and connection to student lives. But in this one, letter D, you really want to unpack the ideas in this DCI, break them apart and expand the concepts. You're going to be elaborating on the content statements because these are these performance expectations that are bundled across the DCIs. These DCIs and their elements are very large grain size, so you need to break them down. And here's how you're going to do that. And this is step 4, continue. You're going to unpack the ideas in the DCI bundle by using your orange post-it notes, and you'll see why orange later. You're basically going to take them in, and here's 3 examples based on that DCI bundle I identified earlier. For each different post-it note, you're going to write one idea on each of these. And if you want, I'll show you an example, and my student example here. This isn't it. Here's the student sheet. So here's the student sample where you can see I've filled this in already. So I would encourage you to use this as reference. But I'm going to go ahead and scroll down to the end here and show you this is basically my list. And it's not a complete list, but I just wanted to give you some ideas that it's associated. So here are the ideas, the broken out sort of unpacked content ideas related to my bundled set of PEs. So you can look that over as an example and do your own. Okay, and that is basically the last step. After you have those post-it notes, then you go on to the next step, which is really digging into the science and engineering practices and cross-cutting ideas.